Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, the Honourable Kennedy Swarat Singh, Minister of Planning, Economic Affairs and Development, and Minister in the Ministry of Finance, is leading Trinidad and Tobago's delegation to the Inter-American Development Bank IDB annual meetings, currently taking place in Asunción, Paraguay. According to Minister Swarat Singh, the annual meetings present an opportunity for Trinidad and Tobago to strengthen engagement with its longest-standing development finance partner. These discussions will address matters of strategic importance to Trinidad and Tobago, including development financing options, instead of having to tax the citizens every minute, every hour, in any kind of way possible. Tanku needs to be removed. Probably put Swarat Singh as the Minister of Finance instead. Debt management strategies and opportunities to deepen the development of our country's development agenda. This is what we need to focus on, and I said that from the very beginning, after UNC had won the elections. I said if it is you want to accomplish certain goals in a certain space of time, find ways to be able to borrow the money in order to do it, and then you will pay it back after you reopen Petrotrim, after the energy sector is revived, and therefore you will have increased foreign revenue, and then you start to pay off your debt gradually, as we did it under Pandey. We did it under Kamala's first administration after the Manning administration destroyed the economy. You're coming now and you're adopting PNM's taxes and fees and fines instead. I'm telling you, Tanku is not the right person for the position of Minister of Finance. Maybe put Swarat Singh instead. Don't go anywhere. More local, regional, and international news up next. On the 9th of March 2026, the governments of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and the Republic of the Gambia formally established diplomatic relations with the signing of a joint communique. The agreement was signed by the Honourable Sean Sobers, Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. I think he's doing an exceptional job thus far. The media doesn't try to make it look so, but I think he's doing a good job. The Republic of and CARICOM Affairs of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and the Honourable Sering Modou Njie, Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation and Gambians abroad of the Republic of the Gambia. I wonder why did they have it as the name as the Gambia, not just Gambia. People that know, comment and let me know. Both ministers reaffirmed their government's commitment to strengthening ties of friendship and cooperation within the framework of the United Nations Charter, international law, and the 1961 Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. This milestone marks a new chapter in diplomatic engagement and opens opportunities for cooperation, trade in other words, investment in other words, between our nations. The Gambia, of course, is the smallest country on mainland Africa, uniquely shaped as a long, narrow strip of the land that follows the course of the Gambia River. Now, the thing about it is, why I added on that extra part to the news report is because the PNM patriots have been trying to imply for months now that the UNC government has abandoned Mama Africa and is only focusing on the white man countries like the United States of America and, of course, Mama India, which is not true. The United National Congress continues to even form closer ties with other African nations, including Ghana. Now, the thing about it is, yes, I do say about Ghana yam and whatsoever and things like that. And that's because we all know that Rowley, as they say, Dr. Rowley. I call him Emperor Rowley. Emperor Rowley only brought those Ghana yam seeds to Trinidad and Tobago, even though we already have yam here, in order to stir up his PNM base. That was the only reason, and that's why I speak about it. I don't mind if we plant Ghana yam here in Trinidad and Tobago, but it's not going to be the salvation of our country. It is not going to be used to be able to feed the whole nation. That was the type of narrative being pushed by the PNM, and that is why I spoke against it. But I am very happy to see that the United National Congress continues to form closer ties with Africa. We will benefit from them, and they will benefit from us. Interim head coach of the Trinidad and Tobago senior men's football team, Derek King, is calling on his players to put in a brave performance in their March 15th friendly against Bolivia. The squad is largely made up of locally based players, and King is calling on them to demonstrate why they should be considered for selection for upcoming FIFA series. Now, getting back to something that I've been thinking about recently. I'm not a sports expert or anything like that, but you know, okay, when you look at a lot of those other countries, they have so many different types of tournaments, especially like in England and stuff like that. So many different types of tournaments that take place throughout the year. How many tournaments do we really have? Professional tournaments here in Trinidad. I mean, here in the region, so that our national teams could be able to practice at a professional level. We are not just talking about the little football matches that we have here in Trinidad and Tobago with the clubs and stuff. Now, of course, England with the professional clubs, that is still different. But we're talking about being able to compete between the different islands in the Caribbean. We are talking about competing against a very good team like that Jamaica has. If we can compete against these types of teams on a more regular basis, don't you think that is going to be able to up our game? As I said before, I'm not no sports expert. And those who are sports experts, I had a partner of mine that I used to teach mathematics years ago, Aaron. If it is you ever see my videos, you know you love your sports, you can comment and let me know what you think. What do you think are some of these solutions to be able to improve our local football team instead of just changing coaches over and over again? I think the problem is deeper than that.
The local-based players is something that we have to continue doing little camps with the local-based players, exposing them to, you know, probably the Caribbean and giving them that exposure, because I think, you know, it's all about giving them the experience. You know, we have some nice little players, it's just to get them, teach them the understanding of the game. We have the ability, but sometimes, you know, in international football, the discipline is the key. So we will see how it goes in Bolivia, but I think, you know, they are ready to go, and we have a good little bunch there.
King shared that come Sunday he would like to see a brave performance from his troops, but cited that it would not be an easy task with Bolivia preparing for the upcoming World Cup qualifier playoff.
Well, we had to watch Bolivia. Bolivia is preparing. When you watch Bolivia team, is 90% of their players is playing home, right? It's outside the FIFA window. They have an important playoff game in March against Suriname. They are preparing as well. So it's just for us to go and give a good account of ourselves. You know, I want the players to be brave, you know, believe in themselves, try and win the individual battles. We stay disciplined, we create the opportunity, and we go in there to look for positive results.
TNT last played Bolivia in 2022, which ended in a 5-0 victory for the South Americans. Adrian Nazar, TTT Sport.
Forecast for Friday, March 13, 2026. Conditions, mostly sunny and breezy conditions are expected to start the day. There may be a few partly cloudy spells with isolated showers. Rainfall, while the day will be mostly dry, there is a low chance for a moderate to heavy shower, particularly near hilly areas or in western Trinidad during the afternoon. Temperature. Trinidad, Piarco expected maximum temperature around 31 degrees Celsius. Tobago, Crown Point expected maximum temperature around 30 degrees Celsius. Wind generally moderate to fresh easterly winds with the potential for gusts near showers. Sea conditions are expected to be moderate, with waves in open waters ranging from 2.0 meters to 2.5 meters and near 1.0 meters in sheltered areas.
Regional news now. Minister for Education, Science and Information Technology in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Philip Jackson, has stressed the critical role for cybersecurity plays, that cybersecurity plays in safeguarding investments and strengthening national digital systems. Minister Jackson made the statement while delivering remarks at the opening ceremony of a 3-day workshop there in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which focused on developing a cybersecurity policy framework for the OEC's region. He noted that cybersecurity continues to be a major topic of discussion globally, and that is so true, as governments and institutions work to protect their digital environments from increasing threats. And we know that these threats are at all different levels. We call it, we have hackers, it's scammers, and so forth. And then we also have some nations like Russia and China that we have to be looking at and observing. We have to be observing at a very high level on probably a daily basis, on a regular basis, because they're always trying to take over other people's countries with these cyber wars and stuff like that. They don't ever actually formally admit it, but it is well recorded in online reports and data.
The threat is all over, and that is why it's important that we take a broad approach to cybersecurity, where our citizens understand the critical need to protect themselves wherever they are, because the benefits that they should derive if they don't have proper cyber hygiene and online hygiene, they become like the weakest point in the link. So we already have an approach where we have a massive public awareness campaign to make sure our citizens are fully aware of the potential of the internet, of digitalization, but more importantly, how to protect themselves online. And as we expand online services and enhance connectivity, we are simultaneously building the foundation of trust, digital trust. And that's important because as we transact online, as we offer services online, it's important that our potential users and customers know that the Caribbean, the OECS, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, is a place where they can transact safely online, that their data is protected, and that has an economic benefit. So the reputation that we are establishing through the cybersecurity approach is critical, because this reputation drives confidence of users of our various services, whether it's tourism, financial services, and trust, digital trust.
A single mother who resides in Cornwall Mountain, Westmoreland, Jamaica, is today celebrating a new beginning, having received a newly built house through a humanitarian initiative led by the New Foundation Christian Ministries. The official handover of the house took place at the Cornwall Mountain Primary School on Saturday, where the church group also distributed more than 400 care packages alongside clothing and food items, as well as popcorn and cotton candy for the children. Violet Bailey, the mother of 37-year-old Nikisha Lewis, who received the house, struggled to find the words to describe the feeling of relief and gratitude, as the experience was quite an emotional one for the family. She said, "First, I must say I'm so grateful. I'm so happy. I can't even find the words to express the way how I feel," said Bailey. She used the opportunity to recall the moment she first learned that materials had arrived for the house, knowing that the family would now be able to rebound from the destruction left by Hurricane Melissa. Now when I looked at the picture, now I'm very thankful for this. And it's good to see individuals in the private sector assisting a whole lot of Jamaicans are in need of new homes. But what I was a bit concerned about is how I saw it was a wooden home. It was a wood house. And of course, it had galvanized on it again. And now, of course, a lot of people are going to build their homes with galvanized over, because that's the main way that people cover their homes. But what I'm saying is, wooden structures, and you know very well that there have been two major hurricanes in the past couple years. What do you think is going to take place if another hurricane, God forbid, but if another hurricane comes again this year, what do you think is going to happen to that home? They should have probably tried to build a small concrete structure, because it's a small wooden structure. I'm not saying that the family shouldn't be grateful enough. I'm just saying that wouldn't it have been wiser to build a small concrete structure? And in my opinion, people should start to move away from covering their homes with galvanized and just cover it with concrete. Of course, it's going to cost a lot more to be able to build a proper foundation and pillars and so forth to be able to hold that extra weight. And I think that's the better solution. Approximately 50,000 public servants, teachers, and members of the disciplined services in Guyana expected to be the first recipients of the government's $100,000 national cash grant as the administration begins distributing the funds through the banking system. According to the Ministry of Finance, the first payments are expected to be made by the end of next week, marking the start of the latest round of cash grants announced in Budget 2026. The pay date for central government employees is Thursday, March 19th, according to a schedule sent out earlier this year. In a statement on Thursday, Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, said the first group of beneficiaries will be central government employees who already received their salaries through bank accounts. Now, the thing about it is, recently, patriots in Guyana who opposed the PPP Civic and the Irfan Ali administration were continuing to say, we want cash grants. Well, look, you're seeing it? It may have come a little late, but the government, the Irfan Ali administration, is keeping their promises. Dozens of young people in Barbados are taking part in a police-led development initiative designed to build discipline and life skills as part of a drive to seek to steer at-risk youth towards education and jobs, getting them off the streets instead. Sergeant Roger Williams, team coordinator for the King's Trust International Program within the Community Policing Department of the Barbados Police Service, said the current cohort of 56 young people is undergoing a series of physically and mentally demanding activities designed to build resilience and life skills. And that's the thing about it. That's what I've been saying even locally here in Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, even though I really do believe there's need for the significant police reform in our police service, we can use them at the community level definitely to be able to encourage our youths to stay off the streets. We need to focus on rebuilding and building new community centers and get them involved in these type of programs. And it's not just about the sports and whatsoever other extracurricular activities. We need the counseling sessions. We need to steer them away, to encourage them, to influence them into getting involved in positive activities and taking out that type of gang culture that has been instilled into their minds from their homes, people. It's in their homes they're learning this, They're growing up only hearing one type of music whole day, whole night, while their family members are participating and taking stuff that they should not be taking. And they're seeing that taking place on a daily basis, 24/7. And then they're going to school, and then they're meeting up with a lot of other friends that are being involved, that are seeing their families involved in these type of activities as well. So they're indoctrinated into gang culture. And therefore, that is what we need at the community level, to find a way to get them to abandon that type of concept, that type of lifestyle that they were born into. Progressive Liberal Party candidate for Fort Charlotte, Sebastian, in the Bahamas, opened the first of its kind state-of-the-art facility in the constituency with a focus on boosting the experience and abilities of residents in the areas of technology, arts, and culture. The facility, named Fort Charlotte Technology, Arts and Culture Center, sits in the heart of the constituency. Bastian, during the official commissioning ceremony for the center, deemed it the beginning of change and evolution in the constituency for years to come. Ain't it convenient as being done very close to when an election is supposedly going to be called? Reminds me a whole lot about how PNM, after 10 years of doing, well, actually after 10 years of doing nothing, but remember they did have elections in 2020. So let's say after 5 years of doing nothing, started to do a little bit of work, paving here, paving there, said that they were going to renovate or rebuild the post office here in San Grande, all because they wanted to win the elections after neglecting the entire country for the whole 10 years.
Today, we gather in a place that will shape the community for years to come. a place of learning, a place for creativity, a place for innovation. Today we put on the map of Fort Charlotte that hope has a permanent address. Welcome to the Fort Charlotte Technology, Arts, and Culture Center. This building is vision made concrete, even though it was built out of wood. A place designed to unlock talent, creativity, and the ambition that already lives in this community. Because Fort Charlotte never lacked talent. Fort Charlotte never lacked resilience. Fort Charlotte never lacked determination. But every community needs a space where potential finds direction.
International news now. NASA is targeting an April 1st launch for its Artemis 2 mission around the moon, marking the first crewed lunar flight since Apollo in 1972. Now that is going to be historic because you're talking about that's over what, 50 years now? Officials said Thursday they completed a flight readiness review and are set to roll the rocket back to the pad March 19th, followed by final configuration for launch. A potential launch for the 10-day mission is scheduled for April 1st with a backup date of April 2nd. I pray that they all reach there safely and return to Earth safely in Jesus' name. That is going to be something to memorable. I hope that I see some videos online that I can share with you when that time comes. Now for the interesting facts segment, bar-tailed godwit has achieved one of the most remarkable endurance feats in nature. Scientists tracking the bird with satellite tags confirmed it flew about 13,500 kilometers non-stop from Alaska to Tasmania across the Pacific Ocean. The journey lasted around 11 days without landing or resting, making it one of the longest non-stop migrations ever recorded. Before departure, the bird nearly doubles its body weight and fat to fuel the trip and even reduces the size of some organs. Wow, God's creation, to save energy, showcasing nature's extraordinary survival adaptations and God's majestic design, people, most of all.
Welcome to Real Conservative Headline News Travel Adventures. Berlin, the capital of Germany, is a sprawling metropolis that seamlessly blends a turbulent 20th century history with a cutting-edge, bohemian present. Known as the ever-changing city, it is famous for its anything-goes attitude, world-class museums, and a nightlife scene that often lasts until dawn. Mid is the historical heart, where you'll find iconic landmarks like the Brandenburg Gate, the Reichstag, and the UNESCO-listed Museum Island. Kreuzberg is a legendary bohemian district known for its gritty street art, large Turkish community, and diverse food scene.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.